Well, hello there, gang. Long time no see. My name's Ray, I'm a Team S.T.E.A.M, and today I'm out in front of Flash Industrial Painting getting ready to start a couple projects. We've got a 2007 Kenworth. We've got a 1977 Ford F-250. Get this guy blasted. As you can tell, it needs it. There's hardly any paint even left on it. Some pretty good scale here and there. Yeah, this one definitely needs it. And so I'll go ahead and spend the rest of my afternoon sandblasting. Whew! Well, I was right about it being the rest of the afternoon blasting on both those chassis. And now that that's finished up, we better get back on this project in here. Come on. Good morning. I do have my work cut out for me. Very odd. I was pretty impressed. I'm gonna do what I always do on these trucks. And that just happens to be my thing, by the way. This paint job's probably 5-6 years old. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. And here he is leaving. It wasn't quite as fun as I was expecting. And that starts right about now. Crew's gonna be here any second. This morning we're gonna remove those lights, remove that plate, mask everything up that needs it, wipe everything down with thinner, take off everything we're going to take off, you know, mirrors, air cleaner, headlight bezels there, you know, that sort of thing. Take off all that sort of stuff, wipe this down with thinner, good and heavy, and then we'll go ahead and get it masked up here today. Well, good morning, gang. Just headed into the shop here. It's first thing the next morning because I went ahead and right after I stopped taping yesterday, I went ahead and gave the guys the rest of the day off because they had gone as far as I needed to go to do what I needed to do on the truck that's in there right now. So old Kevin and I headed into work here today. Well, hey, Jeffrey. Yeah? Yeah, I know. It's funny. He's another rescue. He's another one we got from the pet shelter. He'd been there for quite some time. I don't know why nobody wanted him. He is a treat to have around. He's a hoot. But anyway, they did everything I needed them to do yesterday because what I have to do today is I've got quite a few different fiberglass issues I need to address under the hood. I've got body work that some of these dents are pretty darn deep on this one that I need to address. And who cares if there's a little bit of dust on it when they come back to go ahead and mask it up here in a few days, because we'll just knock the dust off of it with some air and we will have missed nothing. So, and the reason that they're gone here for the next couple days is because Ashley went to an eye appointment here a few days ago that we had scheduled for her to see if she qualifies for PRK, which is just another kind of version of LASIK surgery. It's the same type of result, but a whole different way of going about it. And it's a much lengthier process, much longer recovery. You know, there's more to it, but there's also a pretty distinct advantages, and that's why we chose it. That's why both of us chose it. So she went to her appointment, she qualified, and now she's got her appointment here just a few days after that, which is this morning over in Rapid City, to go ahead and have the surgery done on both eyes. So she's gonna have the same thing done on her eyes at the same place from the same people that I had my eyes done here recently. And that's why I just let everybody go. They're a great support system for each other. And you know, I let everybody do how they're gonna do it. And I even paid for the whole deal, paid for the surgery, paid for the hotel room, everything. And offered it to the rest of the crew. You know, Kittrick's got perfect vision. And Brent's thinking about it. He might go for it, he might not, but I've offered it to everybody and I pay for the whole thing. So that's what they're doing over the next few days. And over the next few days, I'll be working on this truck and doing other little random projects around here. All right, now I've got the hood open. We'll go ahead and step on up here and have a look. And it looks to me like we have our usual suspects. Oh yeah. Yep. And that's busted. It's not even being used right now. They have an alternate cable suspension system in play right now. And I'd imagine this one here, this cable here, looks longer than the other one. I'd imagine that this one here probably goes to that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull that pin right there, straighten it up. It's as bent as a fish hook. Do a fiberglass repair. Pull these two stoppers off. Do a big fiberglass repair. Then I'll put it all back together and it'll be probably stronger than it was when it was new. All right, now I'm standing inside the hood. I've got it propped up from the outside on a couple of sawhorses or ladders with a 2x4 across on the outside just to hold the weight of it up. Even though these cables are here, I think one of them is shorter than the other, so it would kind of hold it lopsided if I did it any other way. I want it held nice and even, so I went ahead and removed the hardware here. Here's that, good and bent up. Remove the stoppers here, and as you can see, pretty badly damaged. Pretty typical though. That's a very typical amount of damage on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and now that first thing I did was get up in here with a couple of sopping wet wax and grease rags and completely cleaned, thoroughly degreased the entire area, because these are, they're always going to have a certain amount of grease. You might as well get that off before you start grinding into the fiberglass with your prep. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some 24 or 36 grit on a 2-inch roll lock and a 3-inch roll lock, and I'm going to go ahead and get all this prepped and probably split this with a Sawzall, because right now it's not going to go back together the way it should. Then I'll go ahead and get everything all glassed up and get out of here. Okay, and here it is all prepped. Thoroughly sanded with 24 grit on both sides of both of those. As you can see, that's been all prepped. As you can also see, that crack moves a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once I get all my fiberglass mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and do that repair and that repair while they're easy to get to. And then I'm going to run a strap from this over to the same thing on the other side, just the tie down. And then I'm going to ratchet the strap until that crack is closed perfectly. Then I'm going to go ahead and fiberglass that one up. Then I'm going to walk away from the truck for the day so nothing wiggles and it has a good chance to set up like it's supposed to. Well, here it is, first thing the next morning here. And as you can see, I use this strap, bring that gap together just right so I could get that all bandaged up. I still have my tape on everything. There's tape on the underside of that one. Tape all around that one, up on the underside. Same with this one, up on the underside. So I'm gonna go in there and go ahead and peel all that tape off and file off, you know, grind off any sharp edges or anything, and go ahead and get the holes all re-drilled and then get everything reinstalled. All right, now as you can see, in this spot, this one is 4 layers thick all the way around this band. And then it's 2 layers thick out here. So, and the entire repair is probably 8 inches wide. And then here, repaired, it's rebuilt in the top and underneath, and I'll go ahead and unbandage these. Good solid repair. 4 layers thick all the way around where it was broken. As you can see, there's all kinds of little snaggies on there. I mean, any one of those would cut you clear to the bone. It is glass after all. So I will go through and I'll clean all this up. But if you repair anything that you own that had bolts through it at one point in time and you had to pull the bolts to get to the spot that needed repaired and now you have to drill holes, don't get this in the wrong order. Don't get overzealous and get this all ground down and get everything all smooth and great looking first, because then you won't be able to see your holes unless you've marked them. Here it'd be fairly difficult to mark where this hole is, but you can see through here where it was. You can see right here, it was right here. you know, roughly. It's a bigger area, but it's probably right about in the middle of it. And then, like right here, same thing. You know this is going to be at the bottom of both of these. It wouldn't be at the top because over time this gets driven up. So it'll be at the very bottom. There's no real reason that it would wear downward ever. So it's always going to wear up. And as you can see, I have one of them marked on both sides. And you can see right through it. You know where it is. But I went ahead and marked it anyway. So that's the two ways of handling it is don't scuff it up first, because if you scuff it up, you won't be able to see through it. Right now, you can see through it. So you can tell where your holes were. And I'll have to get these strips out of here. A lot of times those little strips get left behind. I mean, I always get them out, but they come off the tape here fairly often. You can see there's one starting right there. That's just where the fiberglass overlapped itself and has tape in between. And as you can see, it takes a few seconds to dig it out of there, but it does come out. And so now I'll go through and I'll dig those remaining little pieces of tape out of there. See, what I'll end up doing is I'll just end up drilling the first hole here, and then I'll put the stopper on, and then I'll just drill the second hole through the actual stopper. So it's a 100% guarantee I get the hole width right. So I'm just going to do this first one. That's why I only marked the one. It's all that really matters. Drill that one, put the stopper on, then drill the other one right through the stopper. This one here, we're going to eyeball about where it is, and if I can see it underneath better, I will, but up top here, if I need to take measurements across, I will, or whatever. We're going to hit her basically dead center and drill this hole as well. Then I'll go ahead, after the holes are drilled, and I won't mount the stoppers. I'll just drill a hole through it. Then I'll just pull the stopper back off with both the holes freshly drilled. And then I'll go ahead and get all the little snags and stuff up off of it so it doesn't hurt anybody in the future and doesn't look, you know, as kind of ragged as it looks at the moment. Then I'll go ahead and mount the hardware, and then we're done with this portion of this job. I went ahead and put on at least half again larger washers than what were on there. I like to try and cover more surface area than they had it with the washers themselves. Now we'll go ahead, we'll pull these guys off. I think this is the longer one. I'll go ahead and install it here and see how it looks. And if it turns out that it needs something else, I'll install this one. And I could be mistaken. They might be the same length. I just think that this one looks like it's an inch or two longer to me. So, and one of them is foreign to the truck, so it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this one first and see how it goes. Back through its original, and I was right, it was that cable on the left. The one that was on the right was too short. But I got the original cable hooked back up. The original setting for the cable is now back in play. A pretty common thing if you've got a Kenworth like this and you've got this issue and you've now fixed it, you've prepped it properly, and then you went ahead and laid on a bunch of fiberglass like I did, a bunch of layers. Now when you're ready to go back together with it, you go to drill your holes, of course. I'll do that now here in a second. Then you go to put this on, and now this doesn't fit anymore. Because over time, somebody that's owned the truck, could even be you, has snugged it up and snugged it up and snugged it up so it would hold for the moment, and then put a few more miles on it and it gets loose and sloppy, so you snug it up further. Oftentimes I find these where the threads of the nut are past the threads of the bolt and galded well into the actual shaft of the bolt itself, and they're ruined because of it. They'll break, they don't even come back off because they're so galled because somebody's tightened them so far trying to buy themselves more time. So you can about guess these are going to be too narrow, and I'll show you a trick. If you want to call it a trick, you have to own special tools to do this, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways out there that guys do it. I mean, you could put this down on a corner, a steel corner of some sort, like a chassis or something like that, and then just beat on the top, and it would open it up. But I'll show you a trick in how I open these up, and we have to do it all the time. Now, over here in this little dirty corner of this rather dirty shop, I have quite a few specialty tools that I've had to buy over the years, different sorts of pullers and that sort of thing, and a dent puller gun, and you know, all that sort of thing. And I've got 2 of these. I've had many of them throughout the years. I've had to throw a couple away because I wore them out, but I've got 2 porta powers right here stacked up, and the reason that this top one is open is because I always have it hooked up to this. Because more often than not, this is the use for this porta power. If I need a porta power to extend on these shafts, you know, using this cylinder, I'll just get the one beneath it and haul it over to wherever I need it first. And if I need 2, then I need 2, and it's not no problem to, you know, disconnect this and connect it to that. No problem at all. But I leave it like this so I can just walk over, open that lid, access this, get this to spread out enough to meet these, and spread them out. So that's really all that's it. That's this one's main use. 4 out of 5 times I use this porta power, this is what it's for, is spreading out these Kenworth stoppers. Okay, so you see the width we've got right there. That opens it up. I mean, that's quite a bit right there. But you have to overbend things. If you've watched very many of my videos, you know that when it comes time to bend steel, you have to overbend it. So I go a little bit wide, and that's about good. And I'll show you how far I bent it when I let it off. See, it came back a little bit, not too far. This will probably work. If it doesn't, I'll bring it back over and I'll do it again. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other one, and then then they'll fit just fine. All right, now I'm back down inside this hood here. As you can see, got it like usual. If you've seen very many of my videos, I always put a board down so I'm not being hard on any part of the grill. I'm only around 160, 165 pounds at any given time, so I'm not a big bunch of weight on these. I can get away with these kind of tricks. And I've got my ladder down here, and as you can see, I've got this stopper all finished. I'm going to drill that first hole, which I have not done yet. But then I'm going to put this on, give it just some nice little light concussive taps with this hammer to get it about where I need it. Then I'll drill the second hole. No, I've kind of changed my mind. Most times what I'll do is I'll drill that first hole, then I'll go ahead and put this on and tap it into place and then drill the second hole. I decided I'm going to drill both holes through this one because I had to replace so much fiberglass. I put so many layers in there and changed everything quite a bit that I want to go ahead and make sure both holes line up. That way I can go ahead and drill in from the top about halfway down and then up from the bottom about halfway down. That way they're certain to meet in the middle. Then I can put that bolt in and then drill this one a little more freely. Just like that, nice and snug, good solid repair. That's going to basically last forever. The repair I put in was twice as thick as the original fiberglass ever was, so this really isn't going anywhere now. And here you can see what I used as hood support on this one. I've done many different things. It just depends on how high up off the floor you need to be. So in this particular case, I just used a long 2x4 and put it between 2 ladders, and that's all the support that needed. And so now that the job's done, I'll go ahead and remove all this stuff, take my ladder out of the inside here, and my board up off the floor. Then we'll be ready to move on. Well, okay, as we can see, these are all secure and finished, both sides, stronger than they've probably ever been. The center is stronger than it's probably ever been. I got all 6 of these locations, 3 per side, 1 just inside here. You see 1 across from there. I need to get that tape out of there yet. But you see just above that tape, there's 1 of the locations. There's 2 of them in there. 2 of them right here on each side. They're all fiberglassed up. And that brings you right into the next step on these Kenworths, on really any truck. If you fix or repair and therefore move the placement of any of the hood stoppers on almost any model of truck, it's no longer going to match up when you go to close the hood to where it was. That just makes sense. All right, well, I just learned that Ashley's going to be home here about any minute from her eye surgery. They went ahead and stayed over last night. I didn't choose to do it that way, but in a way that was almost regrettable. I mean, it went fine enough, but when you have to show back up at the place that did the surgery first thing the next morning so they can check and make sure there's nothing going wrong, and that's just part of the procedure, then staying the night in that town isn't such a bad idea. We had to get up really early when I did not feel like it and drive all the way back over for that appointment. So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They chose to stay over. I paid for the whole thing. And then this morning they're going to come back. They'll be back here about any minute. But for right now, I've went ahead and loosened these lower adjusters, and that lower rubber stopper can't go out far enough to even meet the aluminum stopper that goes above it. They two don't even hardly meet. So that's how far out this is, as you can see. I can almost put my entire hand in there. So I can't even get it to go down with the adjustment all the way out. So that tells me I need to loosen the 2 bolts here and the 2 bolts at the front on the other side and slide the entire hood back while I still have all this loose and sloppy, so I can get the whole thing to adjust out at the same time, then go ahead and start tightening things down. So as you can see, that gap is reasonable. You know, like I said, about an inch, between an inch and an inch and a half, and that's about an inch and a quarter right there. That's perfectly reasonable, but as you can see, this is too high. It's even higher on the other side. So now I have the 2 bolts in here for the forward and back adjustment already loosened, and that's how this could just slide back the way it just did. And then I already loosened those, slid it back, tightened them again, because it's back as far as it can go. There's no reason to mess with them anymore. I've got this adjustment back as far as it goes, literally on both sides. So now I can go ahead and take this lower adjustment where it mounts to the cab. There's 3 more bolts. Take those loose and then lower the hood to where it needs to be and then tighten them up, then we're done. And I'll show you here on the driver's side what I mean. Those 2 bolts here I have loosened. But the way that works is they can go forward, it can go back, it can go side to side, it can go any which way, this way, right? It can also go up and down when you loosen that bolt and those 2 bolts. And then the whole thing can slide up and down, like that. And you can see where it was. It was up basically all the way up. I mean, that's all the way up. That's where it was. So it was most of the way up, 9/10 of the way up. And as you can see, that was much too high. Yeah. I'm actually pretty happy with that. That's not bad at all. And now that that hood is back in working order, we got the crew coming in here about any minute. We're going to go ahead and get them started masking this guy off. And while they do that, I've got a couple little chores that I still need to do yet. All right, we're getting some masking done here. Okay, now the initial body work has been finished. The reason that the crew isn't here anymore is just simply because I turned them loose there for the rest of the day because it gets so darn hot in this shop. And on these 100-degree days around here, 95-plus degree days, and it can get well over 100 in the shop. So typically I'll turn them loose at noon on some of the hotter days, and yesterday was one of them. And I went ahead and worked well into the afternoon finishing up the body work. And so this morning, what I want to do is I want to go ahead, finish sanding all this back here, and then go ahead and get all my glazing on. And then get, there's a couple little dings in the side, just tiny little dings that I'm going to fix with glazing alone. Get those done, get the front glazed. Hey look, there's Big B. He's out here a lot anymore. Huh, buddy? Oh, hi. Oh, hi. He's not exactly right in the head. He's a very unique cat, and actually we love unique cats around here. We've got a lot of unique cats, and the more unique, the better for us. We've got cats that other people just simply, that they would have never found a home if it hadn't been for us. We'll just put it that way. And in a way, he's one of them. But he is a treat. Huh, buddy? Oh, man. I know. Oh, he's got that little grunt. You can tell he's really happy because he does that little grunt. His tail is permanently off to the side and he permanently has a limp. And that's a birth defect because I've got his records from when he was first adopted from the shelter 8 or 9 years ago. And we got him from the people that got him from the shelter where their family kind of had a falling out with each other and the cats had no place to go, and that's when we took both brothers. But you can see, it's a birth defect. But if you rub him back there, it bothers him too. And anyway, I'll be going ahead and glazing up these things here, the chips on the front, any little cracks I find. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish sanding some of the stuff that needs sanded so I can get my wet sanding primer. And when I say wet sanding primer, I just mean high build epoxy primer. I don't wet sand. I haven't wet sanded in 20 years. So I just call it wet sanding primer. It's actually just a high build epoxy primer made for sanding. Well, all right, I just finished glazing everything, looking everything over, sanding everything down. Again, as you can see, got a little glazing on it. Across the front there, both sides. Got everything thoroughly sanded. Got that line completely taken out. All the clear coat, you can see where the clear coat's taken off clear down into here. I always bring the clear coat back way further than I do even the paint. I completely demolish that line because I don't trust whoever left it there. I don't care who it was. This paint job, even if it was factory, I don't 100% trust that line. So I always, and this one isn't, by the way. So this has been repainted at some point for some reason. The hood has. I'm not saying the whole truck has. But either way, I try and wipe out that line. And so that's what I've done, both sides. As you can see, it's completely ready to go. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and mix up some high build epoxy primer or wet sanding primer. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the sides of the hood and the fenders just to get that out of the way for the day. It's early enough in the day I can still do other stuff, but I want to get this out. This will have glazed over and become dry to the touch within a half hour, believe it or not, even with the high build. It's impressive stuff. So I'll be able to do that and just get it out of the way, open the hood, and then work on other stuff. And here's my exact high build epoxy primer. PPG, HBE 403, and 402. You mix them 50-50. I've gone ahead and sanded these fenders down and did a little touch up I needed to do, did a little glazing I needed to do. Now all that's done. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix up some epoxy primer of about the same color of gray. Get these shot in epoxy here this morning still, so I can do a bunch of this other work today while this primer, it only takes half hour to be dry to the touch and an hour before you can paint on it. So it's not like it needs forever, but I'll be messing around doing other stuff on this truck once it's dry to the touch. Once it's what we call dust free, which is 15 minutes after you shoot it, then I'll go ahead and start stirring up dust, start taking care of some of the other stuff on this truck, and then go ahead and after that's sat for at least an hour, at some point today I'll go ahead and get the blue on it. Well, since I had my eye surgery, I have grabbed my safety glasses more than I ever have before, far more often. But I still don't grab them for every little tiny thing. But I was used to, for my entire life, not going for safety glasses when I'm doing stuff like chipping rust on a chassis. There's many, many, many tasks that I just don't think about grabbing safety glasses for. And when I hit some of that rust that was on here yesterday, it was on this side, I don't remember exactly where, somewhere in here. When I hit it yesterday with a air hammer, it went ahead and shot a shard of rust back at me at what felt like a BB gun. And that's happened many times. But this one went right in my eyeball. I'll try and get on here. At the time, I just stepped back, said a cuss word or two, and kind of checked the inside of my eye. Didn't feel anything. I blinked a few times, and then went back to what I was doing because I'm so used to having stuff in my eyes. I have stuff in my eyes my entire career. So when I got that in my eye, it hurt and it sucked. But I got right back to work, and then about 30 seconds later, it felt like I didn't get it out of my eye, like there was still something in my eye. And when I went to flick it out, I saw something on the end of my finger that was 2/3 as big around as like a pencil eraser, but razor thin. It was like a little wafer. And that's what shot out of there and actually stuck my eye. And I flicked it to the side apparently at first, but didn't get it out. And then the second time it was rubbing the inside of my eye enough that when I got it out, it stuck to my finger, and I could see it was substantial. And of course, wafer thin. So it was made to cut. And so what I ended up with, and I didn't know that at the time. I just saw that and went, I didn't think much of it. Carried on the rest of my day, and it didn't cause me any additional pain. Doesn't feel infected even this morning. Doesn't feel like anything's happening. And it was, when you have your eyeball, your freshly surgeried eyeball pierced by a chunk of rust. It wasn't a chunk of metal with rust. It was a chunk of solid rust. That seems pretty risky. But last night, at some point, I went ahead and put in some of the original drops. When you get a PRK surgery, they give you these drops that are medicated, and they're also antibiotic. And so I went ahead and put one of those eyes in it, or one of those drops in my eye last night, just for the antibiotic feature, just in case that, because I mean, it was pierced with solid rust. It seems like if you have antibiotics handy, you should probably use them, So I put a drop in last night, and this morning everything feels fine. Everything feels decent. I could tell my eye's been messed with, but that's nothing new to me. And so, today I'm back at it, and we're going to be masking up these fenders and getting everything else ready to get some paint on here today, hopefully, and we'll go from there. Well, okay. At this point, the boys and I have everything done on this that we need to have done to go ahead and get white primer on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix up some white primer, get it all tacked off, get it all primed. Okay, well, I could have got this shot yesterday. It's now the next morning. But by the time I got it primed, it was hot enough in the shop. It was almost 100 degrees in the shop. I don't like shooting paint in 100-degree weather. I mean, physically it's not a problem, but you're taking a gigantic chance of quite a few different things going wrong when you're shooting paint that's this sensitive to temperature in that high of temperatures. So I figured I'd just get it in primer, let it sit the rest of the day, come in this morning, get it shot when it's as dust-free and as nice cool as it's possibly going to be in here today. And it's still over 80. And so that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm going to go ahead and get this all tacked off, get all the stuff cleaned off of it, and go ahead and get the cab shot, and then get the chassis shot. All right, well, I took the rest of yesterday after I shot this and went and did gardening chores all afternoon, and now here it is first thing the next morning. Crew's going to come through the door here any minute. And so, as you probably could have guessed, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unmask these fenders, make sure they turned out all right before we do anything else. Well, okay, that turned out all right. About time to go next door, start grabbing some parts, start stacking them up over here. Crew's going to be in here any second. We'll get to ripping and tearing. Well, all right, gang, we've come to the end of another one. Let's go ahead and walk around it and have us a look. All right, here we have an 07 Kenworth W900. Here's how the passenger side chassis on the front turned out. And here's how the driver's side chassis on the front turned out. When it showed up, it had two of the most common problems that happen inside these hoods, where the stoppers were broke loose and where the hood cable attachment was also broke loose. Those super common, and I've shown you in fair detail how to fix those. It showed up, it had clear coming off the fenders like always. Now they're single stage, so that'll never happen again. This one didn't have hardly any dings in the doors, but the dents that were in the back were actually substantial. They were pretty darn big. And as you can see in the gloss, there's no indication of any dents left whatsoever. I mean, this back of this truck basically looks brand new. The chassis was in bad shape like these all are, all rusty. You got all the details. All sides of the driveline. We got all the details. Double and even triple primed the chassis in spots. Double painted the chassis. Again, the back of the truck looks new. This is definitely easily good enough to go to the auction and bring some decent money. And so if you own a W900 or you work for somebody that does and you think that hood needs some help similar to what you've seen in this video, you've got a bit of a reference. You can come back to the video, kind of see how to prep it, see how See what methods do work. And then you won't have to pay somebody to mess with it. Hey, if you like this video, take the time to hit the like button if you would, because that's going to help me grow my channel. And if you want to see more of what goes on around here, check us out at Facebook at Flash Industrial Painting. And if you want to see more videos like this, or domestic auto body, or gardening, or art, or carpentry once in a while, or even dirt work, or any of the many, many things we do around here, you might as well take the time to hit the subscribe button while you're at it, because you know, we always got something going on. We'll see you guys around.